such work that our descendants will thank us, that they'll look at the labor and raw substance and say, our fathers did this. It was a bridge that couldn't be built. I'd like to give you a little look with my research into the reasons why it truly was the miracle at Mackinac. The architectural innovations of the Mackinac Bridge changed bridge building forever. Today, I'd like to walk you through a little history, talk to you about the architectural artistry of engineer David Steinman, and the lasting impact of the Mackinac Bridge. First off, I'd like us to look at our first slide in the Tacoma Narrows Bridge collapse. With a main span of 853 meters, author Niles Jimsing stated that the Tacoma Narrows Bridge was simply piggybacking off the idea that the slenderer the bridge, the more opposed to wind it would be. Consequently, in 1940, under just 40-mile-an-hour winds, the Tacoma Narrows Bridge in the state of Washington collapsed. The hangars snapped, and the bridge deck fell into Puget Sound. Winds of this magnitude were not uncommon for the Straits area, leading many naysayers to believe a bridge so long and prone to heavy winds would be disastrous. Jim Olson of the Michigan Riparian once coined the Straits area as the geographical and cultural heart of the Great Lakes. Prior to 1957, you could only cross the Straits area by ferry or boat. The UP was described as being sparsely populated with limited accessibility from the University of Nebraska Press. Now that the scene's been set, I'd like to go to our second slide and the architectural artistry of engineer David Steinman. To understand the bridge is to first understand suspension bridges. Described by William Morrow in his book, Inspection, Evaluation, and Maintenance of Suspension Bridges, as a bridge that's deck is hung from suspension cables. The proposal of the Mackinac Bridge came with many alterations and modifications. The first of these modifications was to stiffen and deepen the trusses of the bridge. This would allow for a much better base. Just inches from the truss of the bridge was Steinman's second most remarkable innovation, the open grid roadway. While many jokingly claim that this is just the noisy lane on the bridge, it's actually one of the biggest reasons that the bridge is successful. According to the Mackinac Bridge Authority, a suspension bridge's deck will sway 35 feet either east or west, so allowing the open air to flow through the roadway allowed the bridge to be successful. Now that we know some of the reasons why the bridge was successful, I'd like to talk to you about the lasting legacy of the Mackinac Bridge. In 1957, when the Mackinac Bridge was built, it was the largest suspension bridge in the world. And today, in 2018, it remains the largest suspension bridge in the Western Hemisphere. It is the fifth largest in terms of total suspension length in the world. Although the Mackinac Bridge is no longer the largest in the world, it is worth noting that the Akashi Kayako Bridge in Japan, which is today's largest in the world, is due in large part to the Mackinac Bridge. Engineers from Japan traveled all the way over to the Mackinac Bridge to consult with engineers and workers about building a bridge of this magnitude. Well, I hope this helps shine a little bit of light onto the architectural gem that is the Mackinac Bridge. We took a little history lesson. We talked about the architectural artistry of David Steinman and its lasting impact. The architectural innovations of the Mackinac Bridge changed bridge building forever. Now, when you travel its 5 miles of beauty, I hope you take a time to realize it's more than just a bridge.